A couple days back, I was able to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a bit early, and so here are my thoughts on it. Hi, my name is Nathan. I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out once this video is over. Click that like button, be sure to subscribe. It really does help a lot. And with that said, let's just get straight into it, starting with the good. Simply put, ever since this movie has been shown to critics, it has gotten some really high reviews, and I would say the movie absolutely lives up to those super duper high reviews. And let's just say this, I will be shocked this year if I like any movie that I watch more than Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. It is that good. And there's just so many things about it that make it very, very cool, entertaining. I would say, currently at the very moment, it is the best of the Mission Impossible movies, pretty easily to me. And there's a number of reasons for that we're all going to talk about here. So, right off the bat, I think of all of the Mission Impossible movies, it has the most memorable storyline and plotline of the entire franchise. Like, movies like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, when you watch them, you enjoy them. But I don't really remember the villains of those movies. I don't remember all that much about the plot or anything. I just remember the big, gigantic action stunts sequences. And this movie is one where you could remember the story because in ways it ties into Ethan's past, and it has an entity, an AI, and I think it has the most memorable story of the entire franchise. And I think it's all because there's a massive scope and size where you can just feel the stakes of this movie. The stakes are a lot more personal in this movie than they were in the previous Mission Impossible movies. The antagonist, one of the antagonists, the villain, he ties into Ethan's past in ways, and you could just feel the massive stakes where you feel, and because of that, you feel the danger, the urgency of what happens to the characters and everything like that if they do not successfully complete the mission. I thought that was very well done. I thought that elevated this film to a whole new level. And that's right off the bat what comes to mind when I think about this movie. Another thing to talk about here is that there's a lot of characters in this movie, and every single one of them stands out, whether they be the lead, Ethan Hunt, of course, and you have these people that have been with us the entire way, like Benji, Ilsa, and stuff like that. But you also get these fun new characters that stand out in their own way. The villain, like I said, ties into Ethan Hunt's past, and he's not much in the movie, but he's a very important side character villain. You also get, of course, the fantastic new addition of Haley Atwell, who played in the MCU in the Captain America movies as Captain Carter, Agent Carter, and I just thought she was a real nice addition, a character that pops in this franchise, where she can be fun, funny, charismatic, and she stands out in her own way. She gets these little moments to shine, something where it's memorable, something that can make you laugh. Even some of these side characters, like the henchmen in the movie, that have these big, cool stunt work action sequences, they stand out in their own ways because everybody just has these little moments of something satisfying, whether it be a joke, a scene, an action sequence, a stunt, whatever it is. Every single character you remember in this film, and that was just something that you didn't really get in the previous films. And because you care so much about the characters in this film, it really leads to some emotional moments where, since you understand the characters, how Ethan Hunt, his dynamic with the characters, and we've been with them for a long time, some of them for a long time, it can lead to some really heart-pounding, emotional moments. And the emotion is just something that we didn't get in this franchise pretty much ever in the first 6 films, and this one is actually quite emotional. And not because it's emotional at the end of the film, but it's like you just feel something a lot more in this film than you do in the previous 6 Mission Impossible movies. And that's what I really, really thought made this movie stand out inside of its own franchise. And of course, we go to this franchise to see all the memorable stunts, practical stunt work, action sequences, all the things like that. That's what we go to this franchise for, because we expect an insane thing to happen every single minute of the way. And this movie absolutely does have memorable sequences, memorable action, and memorable stunts. The one stunt in particular in the trailer that they marketed, like, that's the iconic stunt from this movie, where he gets a motorcycle, goes off a cliff, and jumps off the motorcycle. And while a bunch of action sequences recently have been done like that with a bunch of these big blockbusters, here it just feels a lot more immersive because it is practical. You know that it's not a fake person. Whenever you watch a comic book movie, you know you're just seeing, like, Batman, CGI explosion, green screen. And you know they're in a soundstage or something like that. But here, everything in this movie is practical. And that's something that just makes it more real and immersive all throughout it. This solidified the fact that Tom Cruise just does so good at these practical stunts, these insane things happen, especially in these Mission Impossible movies, and he really has outdone himself in this movie. I think I would say this is my favorite Tom Cruise movie. And I think all of that just really worked and made for a really good film that surprisingly is 2 hours and 45 minutes long. But this movie moves at such a very nice, brisk pace that it doesn't feel like it's a very long movie. It's better paced than most of these other films that we have seen. Like, John Wick 4 is 3 hours, but you could feel that the movie is 3 hours, and I love that movie. But this movie, it just flies by. It's very, it moves at a fast pace. You care about what's happening. It's entertaining from beginning to end. So it just doesn't feel like that. And that makes it more watchable, rewatchable for action movies. I would even go as far to say this is one of the best action movies of all time. And this movie is very clearly a part 1 in the title itself would suggest. But the cliffhanger in this movie, there's a cliffhanger, but there's a satisfying closure to the movie. And so that just makes it really, really, really cool. And so that I can't stop raving about this movie. This is a very good movie. Maybe my favorite movie of the year. And one of the best action movies of all time. One of the best Tom Cruise movies of all time. And so you care about the characters. There's some very cool action. And it just absolutely is an awesome addition to this franchise. I would say maybe even the best film of the century so far. With that said, let's move on to the bad. Alright, I was kidding. There's actually no bad things to say about this movie. So, let's just get straight to my final score. Final score, A+. This is an absolute must-see action movie, spy movie. If you like the Mission Impossible franchise, definitely check out this movie because it is amazing. I love it. It's an A+ for me. And so, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Down below in the comment section, share what you thought of it. Click that like button. Be sure to subscribe. It really does help a lot. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I will see you in the next one.